Hi, how's it going, guys? If you're new here, hello, I'm jalunaberry. I'm an editor and writer. I do videos about a plethora of things, but this particular video is one that's very close to me in that it is about something very big in my life, and I find it hard sometimes to talk about it, but at the same time it's really easy to talk about. I can't really describe it better than that. But have you ever heard the saying that all things come in threes? I was raised on that belief. I was raised that if you lose three things, you'll find three things afterward. I was taught basically if you lose one thing, you're going to lose two more. Everything comes in threes. And 1 month in 7th grade, the thing that came in threes was hospitalizations. I was in the hospital once a week for 3 weeks. It wasn't like I was inpatient or anything, but every time I went was a different reason and just finding out I had all these different health problems was a real shocker to the preteen me, who didn't believe most of them were possible. So I'm going to tell you today about the 3 things that sent me to the hospital when I was in 7th grade and how they affect me now as well. The first time I went to the hospital, I was having fainting spells. I was hitting my head sometimes when I'd fall down. I'd wake up on the ground, and I'd have no idea what just happened. So I finally went to the hospital about it. And they did some tests, and they found out I had a heart condition, which I've talked about. And I'll link that video down below if you're interested in hearing more about that. But I found out I had Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which is a heart condition, and that was why I was fainting, was because my heart was beating abnormally. And it doesn't help that I have low blood pressure. In fact, the likelihood is I have low blood pressure to fight against the tachycardia, which I still have some of for some reason, since getting my WPW fixed. But all I know is it was rough. I had to wear a Holter monitor for a few days, then a month, and then another month, because the hospital told me the wrong thing when I got the first Holter monitor for a month. And Holter monitors for a month are very uncommon from what I'm aware, because when you hear a Holter monitor, you usually think this thing you wear for a day so you can't shower because of it for one day. Big deal, right? When it's a month long, you can shower with it, but that's because you have to take off the leads, put on new sticky things. You have to put the leads on properly in the right spots. And it's a real pain in the butt to sleep in, too, because you have to keep it with you at all times. It's constantly checking you, and it's just really, really annoying. But, sorry, I'm fidgety. So that was the first time. The following week, I was having severe headaches. I couldn't concentrate in class. My teachers noticed me holding my head and cringing in pain. They sent me to the nurse's office, and then the nurse sent me to the hospital because I was having such a bad headache that nothing was helping. So I went to the hospital, and they did some tests again, including MRIs, which suck. MRIs just suck, okay? They're way too loud, especially if you already have hyperacuity syndrome and you hear louder than normal people do. And it was not fun. But they diagnosed me right away with migraine headaches, and apparently what I was having was a migraine. So I had to suddenly go to another specialist because the heart condition made me need to go to a cardiologist, and more regularly, or regularly rather, not more regularly because it's not like I went to one before then. But now I had migraines and I had to go to a neurologist. This was getting absolutely insane. Then the week after that, my migraines were being treated, but I had the weirdest problem I ever had. I was in class. I started to feel a little unwell. I felt like I was losing feeling in my leg, so I asked to go to the nurse's office. I couldn't control my leg at all. I literally fell to the ground in the hallway and had to be sort of carried into the nurse's office, where they immediately called for an ambulance because someone can't move one of their appendages. That's a really bad sign. So I went to the hospital. I was there for 12 hours. They did some tests. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They decided I needed a spinal tap. And as someone was explaining the spinal tap to me, something clicked, so to speak, and I could control my leg again. And after some psychological testing, they concluded that it was actually a panic attack. I lost my ability to walk because I had a panic attack. I didn't even know what I was panicking over. I mean, I thought my panic attack would make sense if it was panicking over the loss of feeling in my leg. But no, the loss of feeling in my leg was actually what was caused by the panic attack. I constantly am afraid of that happening again. I've been in treatment for my mental health since I was 13. I went to a psychiatrist at that age. I've been in therapy since I was like 6 years old, I think. I already knew I had anxiety. That was nothing new, but that my anxiety could get that bad and that anxiety could cause such a thing, it was unheard of to me, and it was really scary to think about. And from that day forward, I was constantly worrying about, am I going to lose the feeling in my arm next or something else? I got it back after 12 hours, but 12 hours is a long time to not be able to move your leg. I mean, it would be one thing if I were being strapped down for some reason and I couldn't move my legs because of that, because I had that happen when I had my ablation. They had to keep my legs pinned down to the bed because I wasn't allowed to move them so that my injection spot could heal. Well, not really injection. The spot where they put the catheter into my femoral artery. So they needed to make sure it healed properly before I left. So I wasn't allowed to move my legs for 4 hours. And I have to admit that was not fun either. But I had feeling in my legs at that time. So it also just hurt like hell. It didn't hurt when I lost the feeling in my leg. I felt nothing. I couldn't control it. I was scared. But I didn't feel any pain. And that month was just really over the top to me. I can understand why I was anxiety-driven that month. I mean, I found out I have a heart condition. I found out I have a neurological condition. Even if the neurological condition is especially well known, and I shouldn't be surprised because most of my family suffers from it. I was shocked that I ended up there 3 times in a row for 3 different reasons, and one of those reasons was a thing I've had to deal with my entire life, and somehow I just couldn't control it at all. To this day, I fear that happening again, to be honest. Whenever my legs feel numb and tired from me crossing my legs, I start to get a little nervous and jittery, and it's just not a good feeling. You would think I would stop crossing my legs, but I can't do that. It's a common issue for me, is I can't control myself with that. I try so hard to control myself with it, but it's the most comfortable way for me to sit is the thing. I can't touch the floor in most chairs because I'm top heavy and I'm short, and a lot of chairs are just meant for taller people than me, or people with longer legs at least. So I cross my legs and sit on the chair Indian style. I do that sometimes with my computer chair even, and The only issue with it is after a certain amount of time, your legs will get tired, and you'll start feeling pins and needles. And when I feel pins and needles, I get panicked because of remembering my panic attack. Anyway, that's the story I wanted to tell you about. Well, stories. These are very difficult topics for me because I was so young. I was in shock that I had so many issues that I never knew I had. I mean, I knew one of them, but I didn't know how severe it was. I just want you to know that no matter how scary something seems, it's better to know about it than to just ignore it. Like, as much as I'm afraid of having another incident where I can't move one of my limbs, knowing about it makes me able to work on my anxiety enough that it won't happen again. I still have panic attacks regularly, I won't lie, but I have never had a panic attack like that one ever since. And I think learning coping skills, learning to know that what that is, helps calm me down in case it ever does start to happen. But really, coping skills. You gotta get those coping skills, guys. I don't care if you are someone who is in psychiatric care or not, whether you have depression or anxiety or anything, or you're just a regular Joe who is just dealing with some stress. Make sure you have those coping skills. Because I did not, and look where that got me. It got me sent to the hospital as a 13-year-old. I think I was 13. Anyway, it got me sent to the hospital when I was in 7th grade just for a panic attack that led to disastrous results. Anyway, that's all I have to tell you about today. I'm sorry it's kind of been long and droning on and on, but I really wanted to get all the details I could think of out there. And thank you for listening. Take care, guys.